What's up, people of YouTube? Justin Tannenbaum here. Now, I know I've been away for a little while, but now I'm going to have a little bit more free time. So this video is going to be special because you guys know I'm into tech. And, ergo the YouTube channel name, Microsofttechsupport. Now, the last few videos I've done have been tech related, such as the PowerPi review, adding a screen to the PowerPi, and the DIY TV antenna. So this is going to be a video on every single computer I have. Now, I got to get them out and everything, but we're also going to be going over specs, what they do, if they're broken or not. So let's get into it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at laptops. Now, I got a total of 11 computers that work. Some of them have minor issues, and we'll go over them as I go along to each computer review I do. And remember, we're doing specs too and everything, so let's get into the first thing I'll show you guys. This is a hands-free notebook. Now, you guys remember when notebooks were on the rage when they came with Windows 7 Starter? That's what this little gem is. It does boot up, but the battery's dead on it. Now, I have little, I'm gonna call them spec cards, which explain in entirety what type of computer, operating system, all that fun stuff is. So this has no operating system on it right now. It's got an Intel Atom processor. It's got no hard drive, a gigabyte of RAM, and it uses Intel graphics. So it's got like a internal graphics driver. Now, when this is charged up, the screen doesn't turn on. However, it can be used for video output through VGA to be used on a TV monitor or something like that. So I use it to test hard drives that are the 2.5-inch SATA drives. So it's good for testing, I'll tell you. This is an Asus laptop. It's a notebook S502C. Again, I think the battery's dead on this. Yeah, these laptops I don't use regularly, but they do each do something I need. Like, this is actually my travel computer. When I travel out of the state, out of the country, I take this one with me because this is my second most decent travel computer. And on my little spec card, I'll show you guys it. I write down everything. It's got Windows 10. It's got an Intel Core i3. So, the lesser out of the i3, i5, i7. I'm gonna say second generation of Intel processors. It's got a 500 gigabyte hard drive, not solid state, fortunately. 4 gigs of RAM and Intel integrated graphics. I believe it's got VGA and HDMI out with one USB 3 hub. It's got a broken, it works, it's just like a little weird Ethernet bundle here. The next one's gonna be interesting. And I charged it up for you guys. This is a MacBook. Now, you guys know I've had MacBooks before. I used to buy them, play with them till they break and get rid of them. But this one's very interesting. It's got battery. It's got nothing. This is an old one. I believe I'm gonna say like 09, like between 05 and 09. As soon as I open it. Now, it does turn on, as you'll see. You got a little chime there. Now, what's interesting about this is, where's the Apple, right? I told you guys all these laptops work, and they all have operating systems. And when you turn it on, you get the little Apple chime. But where is the Apple? Well, this computer is interesting because I could not get any version of OS 10 from the year this computer is made for to the newest, what did I put? I think I went up to Maverick or Snow Leopard to try to get on this. I could not get any operating system to load, to boot, to install. But I did ironically get Windows 10 on this thing. You guys know it's kind of, not impossible, but it's a little difficult to get a good version of Windows as the proprietary main operating system on a Mac. But I was able to, and I gave it to my mother because she needed a laptop. Now with my little spec card, it's, again, show you guys it. Windows 10, Intel Core 2 Duo. 500 gigabytes of hard drive space, 2 gigs of RAM. So yeah, it does work and everything. Just the one thing I can't get to work properly is the sound. And this has one mouse bar on the trackpad, which means making this thing able to right click is a little hard. I need third-party software, but everything works except for the sound at the moment. Inside of Windows, obviously, because obviously in BIOS this is a Dell Inspiron. I actually like this computer because it's an XP laptop, and I love the way the old computers were made like laptops. Like this specifically was the ones they put in classrooms, so like through elementary up till high school. These are the computers we've used. Like they had the whole fucking I think I'll call them a post-con. It's just shelves of laptops. So this is an Inspiron 6000. It might have some battery. It does have some battery, so I can turn it on to show you guys that it does work. BIOS revision A03. My Dimension Series 3000 in my parents' room has that. So boots up, does everything great. And my little spec card, boy, is this a generic XP machine. Windows XP, Intel Centrino processor, which is lower than a Pentium 4, which was the generic Windows XP processor. 80 gigabytes of hard drive space. That infamous Windows chime. 512 megabytes of RAM. And obviously Intel graphics. Something's popping, protruding. Nope. It's normal. Everything on this works. The issue I have is the Wi-Fi card in this, I'm gonna assume either the driver wasn't installed correctly when I reformatted it, or there's an issue with the Wi-Fi card because this thing cannot sustain a connection to the internet. Whether it be from my router, my backup router, or my phone's hotspot, this thing just cannot sustain Wi-Fi. And even when it does connect to Wi-Fi, I can't get on the network. We have an Acer. Again, with a Apple. I didn't do these. Most of these computers are donated to me this way, and I don't like touching it because it gets rid of the characteristics and the story behind each computer I get. But this one's interesting. This is an Acer. Oh man, a home theater, and I'm sure I can get the actual model. Is an Acer Aspire 5920. This has no battery. This is my repair laptop. When I travel to people's homes to fix their computers, I need my own little computer sometimes. So this is the one I bring with me. Except for it missing a key, it does everything wonderful. And I wanted so bad one of my computers to have a very good working version of Linux. So that's what I put on this. With my little spec card, it has Ubuntu version 16, and I've had several different versions on this, and this is the only one I got to work correctly with this laptop. It's got an Intel Core 2 Duo, ironically, 250 gigabytes of hard drive space, 2 gigs of RAM, and Intel integrated graphics. It's a MacBook. It's pretty good. It runs fast inside Linux. The webcam works, everything works. If you actually go on my channel, a few videos, probably maybe a year or two ago, I did a webcam test with this inside of the operating system that I have put on this. And I'm sorry, this is not the last of the laptops. This is just the last of the laptops that work correctly. So here is basically a Chromebook. It's a Toshiba, I don't even know. I fucking cannot stand Chromebooks. This is ridiculous, the way Chromebooks, the whole point of Chromebooks, the way they market them and build them is supposed to be for students, for people who just need basic office applications. It's basically a Microsoft Office computer. It's got Word, it's got email, that's all it's got. The only difference is they use Google Docs, which is the poverty software of Microsoft Office. So it's a Toshiba CB35 Chromebook 2. I can't fucking stand these. They have no hard drives, just all integrated memory. It's got 100 gigabytes of storage with Google Drive. It works. Obviously, I took the screen off. The screen was cracked, and what I used to do is I used to use this as the backup for my TV. This used to be plugged into my TV when my television couldn't play media files that I would put on a flash drive and plug into my TV to watch in 4K or just to get it big. And this thing had, I forgot what video app it had, but it had a good video app. So it was just plugged in through HDMI for a good few years until I got my media server, which you guys will see in a minute. So yeah, this piece of shit was only used for my backup TV, basically, when the file software couldn't play. Next laptop is an HP. Again, I don't get rid of this. This is a college computer that I got donated to me a long time ago. Apparently this thing is just shot to shit. There's no charge on it whatsoever. It will never charge. You cannot get this thing on for the life of you. Now, there is an issue with this. I can't even get this thing to boot into BIOS. I think it got corrupted one day during boot. This used to be what my hands-free notebook was for testing 2.5-inch SATA drives and laptop computers. But again, I think swapping the hard drive and doing during regular boot sequence, it messed the BIOS up. I can't get dick to work on this damn thing anymore. No disk booting, no nothing. It's an HP G60, I believe it was. Yeah. My little spec card here. No operating system. Intel Core 2 Duo, ironically. No hard drive. 4 gigs of RAM. And I don't even know what graphics system used. I want to actually say it was AMD, even though most Intel laptops that run Intel processors don't usually have that, but I know a lot of HPs because my grandma had an HP G60, but the processor was AMD based and it was AMD graphics, so just speaking from personal experience, I want to say it's AMD. Now, my personal computer, my laptop that I use is an HP business laptop. It's got it's got 16 gigs of RAM. It's got a terabyte of hard drive space. It runs Windows 10. I don't know the exact model. Honestly, I prefer Dell over everything because I've had great luck with Dell. I don't like HP. But that's the laptop I have that I proprietarily use. It's got an i3. It does what I need it to do. It does my videos. It does my research. It does my work. So that's what I got. So now let's get on to the desktops I have in my room. This is something you guys have seen the majority of the time on my computer videos because this is the main things, the main two computers that I'm constantly working on. It's like my project car. There's always something that goes wrong or something that needs to be worked on with these two damn things. So, one desktop. This desktop right here with the glass case. This is my media server. It's basically a custom version. It's a customly built e-machine. It's got 4 gigabytes of RAM. I got a ton. I'll show you guys some. Like I was saying, this thing's got 4 gigabytes of RAM. It runs an AMD-based 64-bit processor. I don't know the exact one off the top of my head. I don't put spec cards on my desktops because they're already beefy as shit, so there's no reason to know the type of power that these things output. I got a lot of parts for this damn thing. I got RAM. I got extra SATA cables. I got another 3.5-inch hard drive, even though this uses 2.5-inch SATA drives. I got an extra DVD drive. This thing, I basically want it to last me forever. It's my media server. It's what I use to host Plex. But there's always an issue, and it's offline the majority of the time. Like, I cannot figure it out. I always get blue screens, the CPU overheats. I think what I'm gonna do one day is break this thing down and just change the motherboard and probably get like an MSI or something like that, like the military grade motherboard, and then start picking parts to see why it's not working. Because if it's not the motherboard, what else could it be? I mean, it overheats, it locks up. So it has a 250 gigabyte hard drive in it for the space, but it has another hard drive in it that I use for my media, which is a terabyte drive in there. Okay, and it runs Windows 10. Which is the only operating system I get to work. This thing used to run Vista before I got it in my possession. Cannot get Vista 7, 8, 8.1 on this thing. I even tried XP for reverse compatibility. New. This thing will only take Windows 10. It won't take Ubuntu, it won't take Hackintosh, even though the specs that I have match a version of, I believe it was Hazard Snow or i8KOS's version of Mac, and it just didn't work. So, that's what I got. The last computer I have in this room right now is my Power Pi, which is basically a Raspberry Pi inside my G5. Now, I'm not going over everything with this because there's already a video out there for you guys on an in-depth review on this. I'll leave this as a link in the description down below in case you guys want to check it out. So actually, after filming that whole segment on my laptops and desktops, a few things actually changed. My media server you just saw, that is actually gone. I just completely gave up hope on that. It just completely went down, locked up, froze. I couldn't get anything well to work, so I just scrapped it. I took apart the whole thing, broke it down, saved the parts I need. So I actually got 3 other PCs since I recorded that a month ago that are in my possession. I'm going to show you them all. One of them I use now to host my Plex, my media server. It's a basic computer. It's just a Dell desktop. Nothing custom about it. I didn't reinstall the operating system when I got it. I didn't change anything. All I did was delete the users and create a new one, because these 3 PCs I got, I want to stay factory OEM. So here are the 2 out of the new 3 computers I have. This is a Dell Optiplex 380 on the right here, which is on. This is what actually runs my media server now. It's got 3 gigs of RAM. I'll show you guys the specs in a minute. I know it's a little dirty right now, but this is what actually runs my media server. I'll show you guys the specs on it. Switch over to Windows 7. So here we go. It's got an Intel Pentium dual core. It's got 3 gigs of RAM. The clock speed on the CPU is 3.20 gigahertz. And here is the hard drive space it has. It's got a 217 gigabyte of actual storage. And this is my media drive that I actually made internal. I actually had to unplug the disk drive to do this because it was SATA internal, and there's no point to have it. Like, this is just a virtual drive I have set up here for other types of work I do. Like, there's nothing to eject, there's nothing to close, it's just there's a virtual drive. And now this, the last computer, is another Optiplex 320. The CD drive works here. And ironically, this one has no 2 discs, no 2 CDs, but it's got floppy. This actually, I have hosts Windows Vista. So, oh shit. So my last PC, I have a Dell Optiplex 320, 2 gigs of RAM, an updated hard drive of 500 gigabyte 3.5 inch SATA. I put Windows Vista on it, and I tried to make it as factory as I could. Still working on it. It's got a working floppy drive, and this is just things I play with every now and then. You guys know I'm into all this kind of tech, so those are all my computers. So why do I have all these PCs? Well, you guys know I'm just into computers so much, and everything I have does something different. Hopefully one day I can get every PC I have that doesn't work into working order, and I can make a project on that. Maybe one day I actually just spend a whole hour video just trying to diagnose and repair every single other computer I have. I do have other computers in my possessions, however, they're not in this room, they're actually in storage. And if you guys want to see that, I'd be more than happy to make that video. But that's all I'm doing for this video. So thank you guys so much for watching, hope you enjoy, have a good night.